So you've printed your 3D model that is supposed to be perfect and you give it to your friend and suddenly you realize that, oh, the pesky layer lines, they are so visible, I hate them. But here you are. And your friend said, what layer lines? But you can see it, you can definitely see all the layers and it's bothering you so much that you cannot sleep. But instead of trying to find the perfect solution in a slicer, changing settings, wasting your time on printing with the wrong settings, you can basically just change the filament to another type. So today I did a test of 10 filaments, yes, you heard it right, 10 filaments, with the same model, same settings, just to compare it, which one is the best to hide the layer lines. But first we need to start with filaments that you should not use if you want to hide the layer lines. And why did I choose this model? It's a container and the shape is pretty simple. It's flat on the top and the bottom and just going vertical on the sides. So this is why we can see all the layer lines, especially if you're gonna change the light to go from the top or from the bottom. If we're gonna use a source of light going straight to the layers 90 degrees, we don't gonna see any layer lines because this light is not scattering so much. But if we're gonna change the direction from the bottom or from the top, then we're gonna see the shadows going around on the top or bottom, and each uneven surface will give us this weird look. This effect is visible even more on cheap printers or the printers that goes very fast or the extruders are damaged. If you have very precise printer with very precise extruder, this effect is minimized. So for example, this one, Pastello PLA from Spectrum Filaments, it's called Water Blue. And maybe you've been thinking that, okay, matte PLA or matte Pastello PLA will hide layer lines. Yes, it will, but not on a super flat surface, not on a perfect vertical wall. It's gonna hide the layer lines if there's some, curvature from the bottom to the top. So yeah, it's even worse if you're gonna get matte filament. So you don't gonna hide the layer lines with the matte Pastello filaments. And even if you're gonna go with the PETG, if you want to get stronger part, then the layer lines are visible even more, especially when you're gonna use the light, as I said, from the bottom or from the top. So using this one, Spectrum PETG Matte Dark Gray will not help you with hiding layer lines. Unfortunately, no. But still, matte effect on PETG, it's in very high demand, so I like using this one to have, different finish. Then we have plain PLA, which is the Filament PLA Light, the white color. And using brighter colors will actually help you to hide layer lines because the light is basically bright. So if you have a bright light and the bright filament, it's gonna help to hide the layer lines a little bit, but it's still gonna be visible if it's matte. If it's shiny, the effect will be a bit less intense, I would say. This is the Filament Traffic White PLA. So yeah, this will help you. I think this is the good place to start. And then we have something similar, which is like normal PLA in turquoise blue. We called it tooling color because probably you can see this color somewhere in your workshop with Bosch tools, I guess. Tooling turquoise, sorry, color wish PLA. Using PLA at a high speed, low temperature will give you the matte effect and you're still gonna have similar results. And this color is a little bit darker than white, of course. And the layer lines are a bit more visible. So you want to avoid that dark colors, especially in matte finish. I don't even have a black matte finish because I think it's not gonna work properly. So let's go further. I think the next one will be this one. It's silk PLA called Sterling Silver. And using silk filaments that is super shiny, printing slow and pretty hot nozzle, you're gonna get this nice effect of shininess, but it's gonna highlight all the layers, especially when you're gonna shine from the bottom or from the top. So probably it's not the best idea to use silk filaments to hide layer lines. So no, this is, I think, no-go. But the effect, I love the effect because, it's shiny. Let's go to the 5 left that we have, and they are actually good. So this first 5, it's not basically good choice for hiding layer lines, but let's start with this one. This is called Flip Flop Green, and it's PLA with some glitter in it. Gold, silver, depending on the color. But on the spool it looks like that. Printing fast, it's gonna be a bit matte, but if you're gonna slow down, it's gonna get a bit more shiny, deep color effect, high contrast. So I suggest to use this one, and also having this glitter around here and there, it's gonna mask the layer lines. So you know, the layer lines can be a bit visible, but the glitter, it's taking your attention from the looking at the layer lines, so it's masking them pretty good. So I think it's gonna be on this like 5th place from the top, and we're gonna leave it here. So this is pretty good idea to have glitter in it, in the filament, so it's gonna hide a bit of the layers. And then I think the very interesting part is this one, because this one, it's a bit transparent, and probably you're thinking like, what color is that? Because it doesn't look like any color, it looks like white. And actually it's a glow-in-the-dark filament, which is more natural, but a little bit of transparent, so you can see the infill around and you can see the thread. And if you're gonna turn off the light, it's gonna glow in the dark. Yeah, so this is a little bit glowing in the dark, but I think I'm supposed to put it somewhere in the bag, so it's actually more visible, especially with this spool. I didn't have too much light today in my room, so it's not gonna be as much visible. Maybe if I'm gonna go like this, you're gonna see them, but it hides layer lines pretty good. If I need to explain why it's that, I would think that probably because the powder that it's in the filament that glows in the dark, it's a powder. It's not flakes, it's not fibers, it's not spheres. This is powder. And we're gonna have something similar in the next one. So I think the powder is just filling up between the layers, between extrusions, and it makes this surface like super smooth. Even if you're gonna put the light from the top or the bottom, you don't see the layer lines. So it's like, it works like a filler, you know? So if it's not like completely transparent, or it's not like a half transparent, I think it's gonna be the best choice to hide the layer lines. But because it's transparent and it glows in the dark, probably it's not the best choice. But I think it's gonna be on the 4th place. So we're gonna use it here. And then it's a tough choice. Let me think a bit, because I think we're gonna use somewhere maybe this one. And this is our Filament PLA carbon fiber with the carbon fibers, of course. And I'm not sure if it's this place, the 3rd place for it, because it looks amazing. I think maybe it's really hard to make a choice. But it's still, when you're gonna use the light from the top or the bottom, you're gonna see this uneven surface, but it still looks amazing. It has this texture, this car part texture, you know? You don't need to use any fuzzy skin on any settings. You don't need to lower the layer lines to hide the layers. It's just working, and it's pretty fast to print. So I think it deserves at least 3rd place. So let's put it on this side, and it was a black one, PLA CF from the filament, and it's easy to print, it's not brittle, it's easy to put on any printer. So I love the finish of it, and it's matte. Of course, when you're gonna print faster and with the higher speeds, sorry, it's gonna have a matte finish. And then we have this too, and believe me or not, it's not that easy to pick a winner, because this one, it's ABS with Kevlar from the last episode that I used, and probably I'm gonna use this one on the 2nd place because it was pretty hard to print. You know, ABS likes to warp, and it still has this layer lines visible here and there, maybe because of the warping, because I had a little bit warping on this side. Maybe my bed wasn't as clean as I supposed to clean it, you know? And it's a bit shiny. So it still has this texture. It has more deeper texture than the PLA CF, but because it's hard to print, maybe not as hard to print, but maybe not as easy to print as PLA CF, we're gonna put it on this place. And it's that filament Spectrum ABS Kevlar, and it's gonna be way more expensive than PLA CF from the filament. So yeah, maybe I should switch the places. Yeah, let's switch the places. We're gonna put ABS Kevlar on 3rd place, and on the 2nd place we're gonna use PLA CF from the filament because it's way easier to print and it looks similarly good. And the 1st place, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's gonna be reserved for any filament that has wood infill, wood filler. So similar to the glow-in-the-dark filament, it contains powder with wood. So it works like a filler between lines, between layers, and it's gonna make your layers almost invisible, especially if you're gonna you know, have a proper lighting. It doesn't look like it's 3D printed anymore. So this is our PLA wood Ebony black, but it's not black, it's like a dark, very dark brown color with a little bit of lighter infill, wood infill powder. Yeah, so I think any wood filament that includes like 30% or 20% infill of wood powder will hide the layer lines perfectly, and this is the filament to go if you want to hide your layer lines. And remember that if it's PLA, it's gonna be super easy to print. So yeah, this is our Spectrum PLA wood Ebony black, which is a winner today. But the question on the end of this episode is, do you really want to hide layer lines? And what you can actually do to hide layer lines if you have like your favorite filament and it's still visible because it's matte, pastel or silky? Well, I think it depends on what direction of printing you have, because you can also change orientation of 3D model on the printer to print it correctly. And for example, I have those 3 cable holders that they have been printed in 2 different orientations. These 2 was printed flat like this, and this one was printed like this one, that orientation 90 degrees to the right, and it was having supports from the bottom. This middle part looks the best, and it was of course printed with our PLA CF from the filament, and you don't see almost layer lines at all except on the top here because it was having those steps. And this was printed with 0.12 millimeter layer height, and all those containers were printed with 0.2 millimeter layer height. So it's pretty impressive. Going back to this one, you can see exactly that those layers are visible on the top because it was very flat. I used this new feature in Orca Slicer or Bamboo Studio that you can actually do anti-aliasing or whatever it's called, and you can do ironing or just remove the steps between the top layers, and they are a little bit more smooth. But in the end, they are smoother, but the look of the 3D model is worse because there is too much going on around those layers. And if you don't have, you know, the attention of those weird situations around, you're not gonna look at it that way. So I think like using proper layer height, proper filament, and you're gonna have proper model orientation, it's gonna be just fine, and it looks amazing. It looks just like, it looks almost like injection molded part. So that's amazing. And for the part that was printed 90 degrees to the side with supports, well, you see this front area when you're gonna put like the cables like that, it's very smooth. It doesn't have any signs of layers, but the layers are visible here because this is the flat spot as well. So yeah, you need to sacrifice this side or this side, and on the bottom it's also marks from the supports and interface layers. This is no go. Don't do that. Find the proper orientation and just make this part look great. So here it is. Here's my ranking for from the worst to the best. And I hope you will pick at least one from our shop.spectrumfilaments.com, and you can also use our discount code SpectrumYT10 to get everything 10% off. Remember to subscribe our channel because I believe there is going to be more testing which filament to use to hide layer lines. If you have any questions or if you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comment section. And please do me a favor, leave a like if you like this video because it helps to grow our YouTube channel. Thank you very much, and see you in the next one.